Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. I wish a lot of success and prosperity to all of your families and each and every one of you. This is Gaurav Maheshwari, your teenage parenting coach, coming again with another section, another part, another very crucial point of teenage parenting today in this video. So today I'm going to talk very interesting about parenting and a very innovative way of parenting which has been practiced for long when we used to be a child, but we have somewhere forgotten that skill. And that skill is, which every one of us must be remembering, is storytelling. I want to ask all of you, and please give me that feedback in a comment or to this video, is how many of you experience that experience of story hearing from someone like Dadi or Nani every time when we used to sleep in old good days of our childhood? You must have experienced that experience of story hearing now and then when you used to be especially at Nani's place, and Nani used to say some kahani, right? And that was very what to say, day-to-day exercise for us, especially during our childhood days. And that reminded me of few of the stories which I learned from which I have heard from my own Nani and my own Dadi when I was a child. And today I'm not going to tell you those fancy stories, but what I'm going to tell you is like storytelling is very effective way, especially when parenting is concerned. Normally what happens when the communication is made, especially pointing out your children who are a teenage. For example, if you say your child or anyone about their say mistakes, or if you are even going to want to tell you something, tell them something in a learning way, they take it otherwise. But when told in a format of a story with a learning attached to it, it becomes quite innovative, quite different, and also very receptive to them. And so let me give you a few examples of my own life stories, real life stories, which can be used sometimes, maybe in a similar kind of stories can be used from a parents to to tell their children some learning. Let me begin with one story of my childhood. So guys, I was in class 5th, okay, and that 5th class I used to learn karate. So I was doing my karate training, and on one fine day, that was Sunday, our karate classes have planned a tour or trip to a nearby city. So I come from a place called Khorai in Madhya Pradesh, and there's a town called Bina which is 20 kilometers away from my hometown. So whole school, karate school, friends and colleagues have went to that particular picnic kind of trip on that particular day, which was Sunday. The whole day the picnic went off very good. Those days we don't have used to have mobile phones for that matter, so it's always a communication either through landlines or else through someone who is nearby to a place, as in by verbal communication. So that the picnic was there, and we never used to have no mobile phones and anything, and something have went good. So the whole trip have went off, and I was at home somewhere at say 8 o'clock in the evening. What I can see at that 8 o'clock in the evening on that particular day, which was Sunday, I remember when I was in 5th class, I can see a lot of people crowded over at my home. I thought, what have happened? And I can hear someone crying very loudly when I just entered the home. And that was my mom. I have never seen my mom crying like that earlier. So I was quite surprised and even anxious to know what have happened. And a lot of known faces which I could see, like my Taujis and Taijis and etc. at my home. And when I asked her, my mom, what have happened, my mom have said crying that my Dadi or my grandma that time is no more. She have left her body. Trust me guys, at the age of 5th, coming from that tour trip, I was shocked. I was speechless. Not even a single drop of tear have flown away from my eyes at that point of time, and I was quite surprised, like what have happened all of a sudden. And that too in my absenteeism, when I went for a trip or something like that. And I went just straight away right to my room, which was on second floor, and the body was on the ground floor. I cannot face my grandma at that point of time. And seeing myself in mirror, I cried almost for 2 hours without even uttering a word. There were people around who were asking me to open my door of the room, but I was like not in a position to face anyone at that point of time. It took me long to realize that our life is immortal. It took me long for me to realize that life is very short, life is temporary. And everyone who have taken birth on this earth have to go one day. And from that particular moment, after that realization, I was very close to my dadi. It was not easy for me to come out of that zone of losing her, that experience of losing her, that reality of losing her. I was very close to my dadi. It's like I always used to sleep with my dadi. And she used to give me a lot of kaju and kishmish always filled in my pocket. I can still, getting goosebumps when I'm recollecting those sweet, good old memories. She was a very lovable woman, a quite independent woman, a very leadership quality kind of persona. And there were like these lines which she used to say every time, and that was Indar ki chauki Brahma ka tara Ragha ka Shri Krishna Bhagwan rakhwala, Raat rakhwali Chandrama, Din rakhwali Suraj Narayan, Sada rakhwali Dharti Mata, Kal Kant Dukh Dur Kare. So these were the few lines which we always used to say with her, me and my sister, and used to sleep after uttering these kind of mantra or chant before every night we sleep. I missed long time whispering that with her after she have lost her life. I was in class 5th. I was not that mature enough to understand the maturity sense of it. But then I've decided to come over it, and next month was my annual exam. I worked very hard for it and I have topped my class. Not only that, I have qualified for green belt examination on the very next phase of that karate thing. And that made me to realize one thing, guys. And that one thing is, everything is temporary. And there's always a pain associated with everything that we lose, which we like. And that pain is more when that losing experience is unexpected. It happens every day on our day-to-day life. Call it an affair, call it a breakup, call it a broken marriage, call it a breaking heart, call it not fulfilling the expectations. And whatever we expect, if not get in a proper way, we feel like losing. And losing has a pain, which is inevitable. But what happens is, that pain could be channelized in proper way, and you can always come up with life for a higher sense of purpose, higher thing. The only thing that can help you to move on from something that you have lost is to get over it by gaining more than what you have lose. I'm not talking about here that it can be replaced, but it gives you all energies and it gives you all strength to come over it, to move on. Still, I miss my grandmother a lot, and no one can replace her, not even a single % of how much she have loved me. But that pain I have channelized in a proper way and have proven myself in different aspects of my life, and those days when I was in 5th class. And such kind of storytelling can help really your teenagers to understand, and you can tell them like the way I'm telling you, that guys or my children or whatever, ki beta, life is temporary. You will have an experience of losing a lot, but what matters is how you respond to that loss and how you gain much more over it, how you upgrade yourself to move on and do something better in your life. And that's how it is. That's how the practical truth of life is. Let me share you shortly, quickly, a different story, and which will again have learning attached to it, and that can always be used again on teenage experience to tell them something, as in to understand them the learning of it. So it's a story of my hostel life. So what happened is, guys, I used to be in a hostel in class 12th under a school in CBSE in Bhopal. Now what we used to do is, there were like 15 students in 12th class who used to live in hostel. Others were from other classes, but I remember 15 names in my class who used to live in hostel. Now what happens whenever we live in hostel, it's like we are away from our parents. Like there is no parents around, there are no relatives around, there are no brothers, sisters around. So the bonding becomes much more close, and I hope you guys can relate to it with each other, with the people who are living in the hostel, with the colleagues who are living in the hostel. So we're like a very close bond, those 12th as in united. So one day what happened, a student in 11th class who was from hostel have got some fight issue with someone who was a day boarder. Day boarders are the people who come not from hostel but from local area. So for example, I was in Bhopal, so someone from Bhopal had a fight issue. Now what happened is, that particular person from Bhopal have beaten that class 11th student in classroom. Now that particular student have got some injury or something, have went back to the hostel, have told the story. Now hostel always behave like one chance as united, and they are looking for the chances for all that on those immature ages. So what we have done is, we have united together, 11th and 12th class both, have went to the bus, because there were no vehicles allowed in our school. So there was bus who used to collect those students from school to their places, and we collectively, like 15 of us and some more around, have beaten that boy within the bus, and beaten like 15 people on one person, just to take revenge of what he have done to our junior who was in 11th class from hostel. Now what happened in that scenario is, so that boy who was from the background, his father used to have a pan shop in a very, very premium area in Bhopal, and this person have also had a political contacts and also contacts with the gangsters of the town. So he have given a kind of supari kind of thing to beat us very badly, especially when we had a physics exam and stuff. In that all circumstances, we all got in some danger situation, and we were like very panicking, and we just had exams 15 days after that particular incident. So what happened is, whatever have happened, all we are looking forward for the savior mode, like we will cancel the exam and stuff and all that, or we will not give the exam, we will reappear for the exam and stuff. But what I did, and my roommate, along with my roommate, was a very close friend to me, we just focused on studies that point of time, and somehow we managed to pass the exam. And on that particular day of incident, every college presidents and the student union were in a defense. Even the commissioner police was in defense, and the party who was given the supari have come and have just had words with us. Some negotiation was done, and it was okay. But then certain things have come out of this whole experience, as that whatever the circumstances are, you cannot avoid the circumstances, but you have to remain focused on what is present, rather than over thinking about future, or even regretting what have happened in the past. Because what happens, you never know what will happen tomorrow. What you can control is only now, this moment and the present, and that is what has to be focused. And this have really helped me to pass exam. Those out of 15 students that were in hostel, only 2 of us have got passed through with 80% as in average. And that can give a few learnings as well, like one thing, that always be focused on the present, and second is, what have helped me that point of time was not much of the preparation pre-exam, because that was not the time where hostel was in a mood to study, because everyone's panicking, and everyone was in savior mode, and everyone was like thinking how to come out of the situation, because we were very young those days. But what have helped me is those classroom focus. When the teacher used to take class in the classroom, I used to be very focused. So that gives me another learning, that whatever happens, in the whole process of any learning. Each and every step is important. So don't take presumptions that this is better time that I should focus, and this is not the right thing that I should focus on. But each and every step of learning and the process is important. Those focusing well in the classroom have really helped me to do well in my exam, even when I was not prepared enough, right? And then you can tell again this is story and example with learning to your kid that beta लाइफ में कुछ भी हो, पैनिक नहीं होना है, एंड फोकस करना है व्हाट इज़ एट द प्रेजेंट. फोकस करना है हर एक प्रोसेस ऑफ लर्निंग पे, बिकॉज यू नेवर नो विच थिंग विल हेल्प यू व्हेन इन योर लाइफ. You never know that. And I think these storytelling kind of exercise in the right way with proper can help you really not only improving your communication with your teenager, but it will also impact big time. As we all believe, STF community believe in that yes, my story can impact the life. And so these stories can really impact the teenage. And this is a great skill set of parenting. So guys, I think that's what I want to convey through this video is like, yes, please implement this particular storytelling kind of stuff in your own experiences wherever you are, and also especially with the teenage. It really helps them to understand what you're trying to tell them, rather than just pointing out the finger at them and just making a big lecture out of it. Thanks guys, thank you so much. I'm awaiting for your feedbacks and genuine improvement areas for me. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.